Hello again from sunny Southern California after the big storms. Today we are staying with a very American theme in many ways. A, because of the origin. B, it's local here, so semi-local. C, because of the spirit behind these wines. So let's just talk about this a little bit. So we're talking about Madson Vineyards, Madson Wines. Madson is the owner is a fellow by the name of Cole Thomas, who is using his sort of grandmother's maiden name. She emigrated from Scandinavia, and so this is where the name came from. And they farm and make wine in the Santa Cruz Mountains. Santa Cruz Mountains is the home to, of course, Ridge Montebello, the most famous wine from that particular region, and a couple other wineries like Mount Eden, and some of the sort of really very old, sort of, not necessarily very old, but well known for a while wineries. But it's typically been very expensive to farm and to own because it's very close to Silicon Valley. And sort of an area that's been a little bit overlooked from a wine producing point of view, except for some of the famous names that I just mentioned. But recently, there's been an effort by younger entrepreneurs, and this is where the sort of American spirit, so to speak, comes in again, to develop new wines. Young people who have learned on the job. Cole was a farmer, organic farmer, and he worked on some vineyards. He worked in Australia, and then he decided to start getting into wine, but he couldn't buy any land. He couldn't even buy the grapes. So in the beginning, it started as a barter system where he would farm a plot and would get some of the grapes in return. He had some mentors in Santa Cruz, and they helped him get going. And he started this label. They make, I think, I don't know, over 20 bottlings, Syrah, Pinot Noir, different vineyards of Syrah, of Pinot, Chardonnay, Aligoté, Cabernet Sauvignon. Really trying a bunch of different things in very small production. And he has become known and is getting a lot of traction in the market. I found out about him from an article in the LA Times. So that was one of the things where you can discover what's going on not far from here. The Santa Cruz Mountain is very interesting because it's hilly, it's right over the ocean. It's got a lot of forest because it's still underdeveloped. So you still have a lot of the natural growth that goes on. The vineyards are very far apart. This is not densely cultivated. And it's on top of the San Andreas Fault. So with the earth movement, a lot of the layers have been shifting. Instead of being like this, the sediment layers and the geological layers, they're kind of being like this. And so now you have access to many layers depending on your plantings without having to go 5 miles deep or whatever. So that's kind of very interesting. You get a different variety of soils in your vineyard, and then as you mix all the grapes together, you're going to have that richness that you may not get somewhere else. So freshness, richness, very big focus on organic and natural methods, local yeasts, all that kind of good stuff. No herbicides. The wines end up being a little bit expensive as a result. Expensive meaning we're talking $40-$50 as opposed to $20 because of the fundamental price and cost of the land and the small production farming, which is mandated by what people have access to and how they want to experiment with different things. So that's kind of what you have to buy into if you're looking at these wines. So I got 4 different bottlings from Madson, a Syrah, a Cabernet, Pinot, and a Chardonnay. Today we're going to try to talk about the Syrah and the Cabernet, and then we'll do the Burgundy style maybe some other time. So here we are. This is the Cabernet Sauvignon 2022. It doesn't have a vineyard on it, so I'm not sure if it's coming from one place or many different places. Very small production, 569 bottles. So that tells you really. And it's Cabernet Sauvignon, so probably 100% Cabernet, 13.5% alcohol, 2022. The color is very Bordeaux-like. So it's really Cabernet color. It's not very alcoholic, 13.5%, but still, it's got nice legs. And these bottles have been open for a while, and I wanted them to really settle down, even though, and they're pretty young, but they have a few years of bottle age. On the nose, it's not very rich. It's kind of fresh. It's acidic. It's got it's got the red fruit, but not in a lot of depth. Not a sort of overwhelming, kind of Cabernet red fruit. And it's a bit floral, which is always interesting for Cabernet, and I find that to be in some of the some of the cooler areas. On the palate, it's very interesting because it's got some slight bitterness. It's more like a tea, like an Earl Grey tea kind of, very perfumed and floral and not herby, but herbal, but at the same time not sharp. I mean, a little bit sharp, but not too acidic. It's still it kind of hard to sort of place it as a Cabernet traditionally, but it is, so it makes you appreciate it in a different way. At sometimes I found it to be a little too sweet, a little cloying, but that's kind of gone away as soon as you kind of stir it in the glass a little bit. So it's just a very interesting Cabernet that is gonna dispel any preconceived notions that you might have about, California Cabernet. And the acidity and the herbal nature, almost like I think we have lavender almost on the back of the finish here. It's just really very, very interesting. So that's the Cabernet. This is a Syrah, 2022. It's from the Ascona vineyard, one of the 30 vineyards they farm, and this is like 1,300 bottles produced. So again, very small production. 2022 as well. 12.5% alcohol, and you can see right away on the color, it's got that pinkness, that violet, that's very typical of Syrah. I don't know if you can see that, but you have to take my word for it. You see it sort of in the reflection at the bottom of the glass. On the nose, it's just really beautiful. It's like it's light fruit. It's got this Saint Joseph sort of really playfulness with the violet, with the acidity, all coming to the fore, on the nose. It's very, very kind of, to me, it reminds me really of a very good Saint Joseph. In the mouth, it's just incredible. It even has a little bit of cardamom. It's got the pepperiness. It's really very present, very, very, very finely ground sort of white pepper, and a little bit of acidity, very light, alcohol. It's just a beautifully fresh, and again, it's the freshness and the vivaciousness in both these wines that are really striking and makes you really appreciate what the winemaker was really aiming for. This stuff doesn't happen by accident because of course, it takes a lot of work, and that's what they wanted to produce, and that's what they were able to make. So it's a label to keep an eye on. Interesting label. It's all the same kind of label, these faces, but with different colors indicating the white, the red, the Syrah, the Cabernet, and again, the different vineyards. Not so hard to find here in California, but well worth it. Cheers, and see you soon.